So hello everyone. I think we are 22 person in this workshop. So my name is Camille. You can see my face for people that don't know me. I'm assistant professor in Paris in Arts et Métiers, and I will be chairing this session with Tristan Briard.
Yes, hello everyone. So I'm Tristan Briard. I'm a PhD student working on data-driven design. And we're going to make a quick presentation and then some working. Then we'll work together about data-driven design.
Perfect. So I hope everything works well. So we have two more people, so 24 people now. Hello, people that's coming. And so maybe Tristan, you can begin for the planning of this session.
Okay. So I hope everyone see the planning of the session. We will first begin with a quick presentation of the decision-making SIG. Then we'll introduce each other. And I'm going to make a quick presentation about data-driven design and decision-making and the objectives of this workshop. We will then have two working sessions of 45 minutes and a quick 15-minute breaks between the two sessions, and then we will conclude.
So I hope everything will work well. It's the first time we're doing a workshop online, a workshop of 3 hours online in that way. So I hope everything will go well. Yeah.
Okay, so to jump in, we'll start with the presentation of the decision-making SIG.
Okay, so decision-making. What is decision-making? It's a main topic of the design science. So you can join us on LinkedIn. You can find the SIG page very easily. You can just type decision-making in Google plus LinkedIn, and you will find the page. So in general, decision makers are responsible for their company's future and doing all the product design process. Decisions have to be made, and task, risk. It's very difficult to deal with all those things. So the goal of the SIG is to help developers and designers to find the best answers and to keep the risk at minimum and to find the best decision. This SIG is a workplace where everyone can share their knowledge, and you can learn also different things. So making the right decision at the right time is a challenge, and it requires the right data to be really accessible to the right people. And the aim of this workshop is to propose an interactive environment to practice and learn from each other, to understand the potential and challenge of data-driven design within the product development process, and to explore the future possibilities and value of data-driven design in decision-making. So this workshop is an opportunity to provide all participants state-of-the-art first with the presentation of Tristan at the beginning, and then sharing of what is data-driven in your process and how it can be, what can be the future research in this topic. So the presentation of the participants, I'm not sure we can do that in open because we can only share in one way. I just see that we have 25 people joining this workshop. We have people from many places: Italy, Sweden, France, Germany, and that I don't know for the other. and we will have some rooms, chat room after, where everybody can talk, and so we can share, and you will briefly introduce yourself in few minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to start a quick presentation and a quick state of the art of what is data-driven design. So here you have 3 quotes coming from the product development process in 2040. It's the latest report from the Design Society, which try to think ahead of what the product in 20 years will be. So the first quote is about connectivity. The connectivity is becoming cheaper and cheaper every year, so products can produce a lot of data for a cheap amount of money. The second quote is about the data in general. We are every day flooded with data, and this is not going to stop as a trend. We think that that data will become even more important, even if already today it's very important. And finally, the last quote is about the interpretation of the data that will become a major issue for the years to come. So what is data-driven design? It's an umbrella term, meaning that it can means a lot of things. So we are going to take a clear definition of what is data-driven design for this presentation, and we are going to say that in our case, data-driven design is the use of data in the decision-making. Is the use of data as a decision-making tool in the phase of the product development. So how is data-driven design integrated today in the product development process? It's widely used in the digital field, as you may already know. For example, in the UX, user experience and user interface design. But it's not as popular in the other fields, like, for example, the automobile, etc. It's common to find data usage in the product development process, but in the latest phase of the development process, for example, the testing phase, where data are mostly collected and processed through computer-aided design models or experimentation. So what we are going to ask ourselves is, what about the earlier product development stage? Where can data be integrated? We are quite lucky, because this year a colleague professor Alessandro Bertoni made a review article for the design 2020, and in his article he tried to review how the data was integrated in the product development process. So what he did first was he tried to identify all the article within all the article concerning data-driven design in the product development process. So to do so, like you can see, he tried to identify. He tried to link data science world on the left, like data-driven, data intense, big data, machine learning, etc., with product development words, like you can see on the right. And the result of this research was that he found nearly 600 papers. Then he did a first review of this paper based on their title and their abstract. and he found then 127 papers. And then he did a second review and focused on the papers that were about product development phases. You can see that, on the left, you can see the classification of the different papers, and we have, like I was saying, 52 papers concerning the concept development and the data usage. So to go into further detail, he then tried to identify what was the product development phase that were concerned, and he found that among all the articles, 32 of them, so more than a half, were concerning the identify customer needs. So we can say that today, on the research field, most of the articles are concerning only one phase, and the other phase are kind of poorly represented, as you can see. So then, among all the articles concerning the customer needs identification, he then asked the question of what was the data that were used and what was the analysis method that were used in the process. So again, you can see on the left that a lot of the data was coming from the online review or the social media, or like online data, and the technique used to analyze this data was mostly text mining. So what we learn here is that the company still don't understand the data very well, and they choose to emphasize the cheap solution for data usage. So data mining on social media and online review to identify the customer needs is like, it's kind of a cheap approach, and cost. It can be efficient, but it's more like a cheap approach, and it doesn't involve data as much as we want to. Because, for example, you can see that the usage of sensors are only very limited, are very poorly represented. Sorry. Then about the other phases of the development process. So excluding the customer identification needs, we have a more diverse representation. But if you can read what the sources of the data are, you can see that all of this data is not dedicated for a data-driven approach. It's more like it's convenient data that the company use because they have it quickly and easy, like the data from prototypes or the patents database. It's easy for them to have access to this data, and it's not what we want to say here is that even if you wanted to take another approach of instead of data-driven design, you will always have this kind of data. It's not like it was dedicated for our usage. So now we are going to talk to conclude a bit more about the actual research that's kind of interesting in their usage of data. And what we what we found interesting, for example, are the Falcon projects. Those projects try to monitor real life usage of a product by integrating sensor in this product. Like, for example, on the left, it's a fridge that monitors every opening and every opening of a door of his door, and then the company can use this data as real life and can integrate this real life usage of the data in their simulation process. They can also drive the users to best use of the of their products using this data. And it's the same thing on the right with the washing machine, including sensors that can that monitors the use of the bearings. So all of these data are then analyzed and used for the next generation of products and to improve them. Another and at last, another example of interesting data usage was this cyber empathic design framework. In this use case, many sensors were integrated in a shoe, and it was tested on 150 participants, and the data collected from the shoe was translated in user empathic data, meaning that numbers concerning the pressure, the temperature, was then translated in a user perception of comfort. They also illustrate that the sensors data are more accurate than the survey data. It's really interesting. What's really interesting is also the possibilities that this kind of study open, because you can imagine, for example, product that will modify their behavior by using their sensors and monitoring the user utilization. So to conclude, like an iceberg, we have data-driven design is poorly used today. We think that we only see a bit of what can be done with data-driven design. Its use is limited and far from being mature yet. We think that thinking ahead the collection and the use of data in the different design phases should lead to a lot of innovations. But companies don't have the tools yet. They, as I was saying earlier, they emphasize on easy and low-cost solutions like text mining or using their already owned data. The future research, as we have seen, should highlight the great potential that this data can have and their impacts on the product development.
Thank you very much, Tristan, for this very nice presentation on data-driven design. Now we know a bit of what people can find in a research article. What are we going to do? It's a workshop, so workshop means to work, and we will try to do 2 more workshops with a break between them. So the first one is a knowledge sharing about data-driven design in the early phase of a new product, service, or PSS development process. So that's first for the past, and next for the future, with identifying the landscape for future research projects about data-driven design in the same phase, in the early phase. So how we're going to do? We're going to do with Klaxoon. I hope you know how it works. So we will try. We are 19 now in the room. So I think we can all join only one session because it will be better to share the knowledge between all the participants. And I don't know which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to work with the Canva, the design thinking process on the right, or on the systemic design process? So maybe you can write on the chat, session chat, on the left of your screen. You can click on chat, next session, and after you can write more on the, I don't know, design thinking process if you prefer. So I don't know if people can find. Okay, systemic design process. One prefer. Other people. Okay, design thinking process, systemic design process. So I think we have 0.5% of each. Okay, so we really have of both process. So what we're going to do, because we are only 20 people, now we are 20, yeah. We're going to join on the Klaxoon. So go on klaxoon.com, and we're going to share on the same screen. So klaxoon.com. And le premier, je fais ça. F.
Je prends celui à gauche.
F. H. So Tristan is going to end the Klaxoon session.
Il faudra grandir juste.
Yeah. Et on peut les faire rentrer dans la room. Ouais. Okay, and when you are in the Klaxoon, you can go on the break room 1, where everyone can talk, because it's only one way. So we're going to stop on this session and go on the break room 1. So for the people who are in this room, can you go on the break room 1? It's on the chat. The link is on the chat.